Ohio University reverses its decision regarding the LGBT Center. Former Vice President Joe Biden has made his decision regarding his future in politics. And in sports, a look into Ohio athletics weekend matchups. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
OU will officially not follow through with plans to relocate the LGBT Center to a gallery connected to the Multicultural Center. Good evening, I'm Ben Schwartz. Thanks for joining us. In an email sent to students yesterday around noon, Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion, Dr. Gigi Sakubin, acknowledged her office did not consult with enough students before making the decision to move, but said the relocation would still happen over the summer. In response, students took to College Green in protest. Then around 8:30 last night, Sakubin sent another email postponing the move. Madison Bailey frequents the LGBT Center and now hopes the relationship between students and the administration will improve.
I just want the administration to start doing its job and looking out for the needs of the students. I don't think our relationship is too far gone to mend things and to actually make a collaborative effort for the good of our communities.
Brianna McElrath is a student as well who frequents the Multicultural Center. She says the center plans to work on improving that relationship as well.
She's aware that we feel like this, so we're hoping that we're going to invite her out to some stuff and just try to make the relationship better. But I feel like this was a really good first step in repairing that relationship for both sides and repairing that trust, because we have to trust administration and administration has to trust us, or it's just not a good situation for either parties.
According to Sakubin, the university will identify a temporary space for the LGBT Center while talking with students about a possible new location. The Pike County Sheriff says human remains found in a large bag in Waverly have been identified. Sheriff Charles Reeder says in a release that the remains were identified as 36-year-old Shane Walls. Walls was reported missing in February and was last seen in December. 3 mushroom hunters found the bag around 3 p.m. Monday. The cause of death has not been determined and is being investigated as a homicide. Residents living along Route 50 will be receiving a new sewer service. The project will extend sewer lines to subdivisions west of Athens and other nearby areas. The $30 million plan requires more than 200 landowners to allow easements or the use of their land to the county. Athens County Attorney Frank Lavelle expects most of those easements to be donated. In less than a month, residents in the Alexander School District will vote on another school levy. Residents will be voting on a 1% income tax levy to help support the school district. Voters have repeatedly rejected such levies since the late 90s. If passed, the money would be used for new textbooks and updated equipment for classrooms. With increasing class size, teachers have had to use their own money to buy supplies for their rooms. A historic building on Factory Street will be demolished in June to make room for the new Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine. But pieces of the building will be used in a creative way. The brick building has been home to many different businesses over the past 100 years. Parts of the iconic structure will be preserved to build a cafe inside the new building on Union Street. The building is expected to be completed by 2021.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Rachel Cherry, and it was a bit rainy this morning, but it started to clear up, and it's not going to stay that way, unfortunately. Right now, it's 70 degrees in Athens. There may be a lot of cloud coverage, but it's still warm at 70 degrees. Athens is a bit more humid than normal with 66% humidity, and it's just a bit windy at 3 miles per hour. Around the region, we are seeing most temperatures in the mid-60s to 70s, and up north, Columbus, Newark, and Cambridge are 64 degrees. Again, Athens is 70 degrees along with Marietta and New Martinsville, but down south, Ironton and Ripley are seeing warm temperatures in the upper 70s. And the region is cloudy right now, but that will change in a couple of hours when rain comes in. As you can see, it's just really cloudy right now in the region. And more rain is not only going to come tonight, but throughout the week. The next couple of days is going to cool down where the sun is going to peek out a little. Now it's going to be a little bit sunny on Saturday, but later in the forecast I'll tell you what is the best day to stay outdoors.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Rachel. A man will not be receiving the death sentence after being on death row for more than 30 years. A Cuyahoga County judge decided Andre Jackson is intellectually disabled and has thrown out his death sentence. Jackson was convicted of aggravated murder in 1988 for fatally beating a 74-year-old employee at a laundromat in Euclid. The ruling says executing Jackson would violate the U.S. Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment, but the county prosecutor's office is appealing the ruling. The city of Cleveland will pay $50,000 to settle a lawsuit filed against a protester. Stephen Fridley was arrested during a flag burning at the Republican National Convention in 2016. A judge threw out the charges against him, but he sued the city and police, saying they unlawfully prosecuted him for exercising his free speech rights. Cleveland's law director confirmed the payout, but says the city denies any liability and disputes Fridley's version of the facts. 6 dancers at a Columbus strip club are suing Columbus police officers for malicious prosecution. The lawsuit alleges the women were charged in 2017 and 2018 for touching police officers, which violates a state law that bans dancers from touching patrons. The women say, though, that police aren't legally patrons. The dancers' charges were dismissed and they are seeking compensatory damages. The 2 officers being sued are on desk duty as the FBI investigates the Vice Unit. Ohio is looking for members of the public with expertise in aviation and aerospace technology to serve on a state panel. State Representative Rick Perales says applicants for the group could include military representatives, academic experts, or industry leaders. Those interested in one of the 14 public slots on the committee have until May 8th at 3 p.m. to apply. The panel also includes 3 legislators from Ohio's Senate and House and a member appointed by the governor. It may get easier for people to register to vote in Ohio. Ohio would join 15 other states with opt-out voter registration under a proposal spearheaded by Republican Secretary of State Frank LaRose. LaRose announced yesterday he wants voting-eligible Ohioans to be automatically registered to vote when they file taxes, renew a driver's license, get a fishing license, or have some other interaction with a state agency unless they decide to opt out. LaRose is assembling a group. A Catholic diocese and former bishop want a West Virginia judge to throw out a lawsuit. The suit claims the Diocese of Wheeling-Charleston knowingly employed sexual abusers without adequate background checks. The diocese lawyers said last week that Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, to show that they violated the Consumer Credit and Protection Act. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin is blaming the shooting death of a 7-year-old girl on teachers who are protesting in Washington, D.C. Bevin, a Republican, made the claims today at a civic luncheon. His claims seem to refer to a March shooting near Louisville. The Courier-Journal reports a girl and her older brother were home alone while their uncle was outside. Public schools were closed that day due to a teacher sick out. Unemployment rates in all 55 of West Virginia's counties dropped in March. Statewide, the unemployment rate dropped to 5.1% in March. Calhoun County had the highest rate of unemployment at 15.5%. Roane County was the next highest at 11.9%. The counties with the lowest unemployment rates were Jefferson County at 3.2%, and the next lowest is Berkeley County at 3.8%. A once eradicated disease is now back and at a 25-year high. And 2 controversial leaders met in Russia. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
After months of speculation and deliberation, former Vice President Joe Biden has entered the 2020 presidential race. Karen Kaifa has the latest from Washington.
Joe Biden makes it official, taking aim at the current commander-in-chief.
If we give Donald Trump 8 years in the White House, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation, who we are, and I cannot stand by and watch that happen.
Before he can take on Trump, he needs to battle through a large, diverse Democratic field as the party feels a strong pull from the left. The former vice president starting on top of most national and early primary state polls.
I think the American people who know a good bit about Joe Biden will once again see his leadership, see his commitment to the country and the middle class and protecting the vulnerable.
I would suggest.
But Biden's political resume stretches back before some of his Democratic competitors were born, and 19 other candidates are already at work.
They're going to be out there fighting too, so I think he's got his work cut out to raise money and to get a clearer message about the future out.
Some Democrats will argue the future of the Democratic Party isn't in its past. Others will point to a key general election strength.
Without the industrial Midwest, President Trump has absolutely no path to re-election, and really the industrial Midwest is Vice President Biden's bread and butter.
And that's where Biden will really kick things off, in the Rust Belt, his first official event in Pittsburgh on Monday. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
The field is up to an even 20 now. Biden enters at the top of the polls amongst declared Democrats. In spite of his status as the presumptive frontrunner, Biden is refusing to pay attention to that moniker. Biden is just trying to be someone all of the voters can relate to.
How does it feel to be the front runner?
Well, it's real early. I tell you what, the issue is going to be who, not only who can win this, but who's the best person to lead the country. And that's what it's going to be all about. And it's going to be for the voters to decide that.
Biden is currently polling at around 29%, which is about 8 points higher than the next closest challenger, Bernie Sanders. Measles rates in the United States are at a 25-year high. In 1994, 963 cases were reported. So far this year, 626 cases have been reported, with 8 months left in the year. Roughly 3/4 of these cases came from Orthodox Jewish neighborhoods in New York State.
There's a lot of misinformation from this anti-vaccine movement within the community. Peach and some of these hotlines that they're listening to, some of the misinformation is that it causes autism, that the vaccines contain mercury, that the vaccine, that the disease itself will actually protect them from cancer, that the disease themselves will protect them from eczema. Like, these are some of the false things that they're telling to the community, and the community is really eating this up.
It is believed the anti-vaccine movement is what has led to the increase in cases. Almost all cases involved unvaccinated people. North Korea billed the United States almost $2 million for the medical bills of a U.S. student who was imprisoned by the country. That's according to a source familiar with the matter, who said North Korea insisted the U.S. sign a pledge to pay the bill before releasing Warmbier from custody. Otto Warmbier, who was detained in 2016 for stealing a poster while touring the country, was released in 2017. Warmbier was comatose when he was released and died 6 days after returning to the U.S. Another source says the U.S. has not paid the bill and had made it clear to North Korea that it never would pay it. North Korean President Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin have ended their talks. They met in Russia and talked for 3.5 hours. Putin says they spoke about how to improve the situation on the Korean peninsula, but there are no plans for a joint statement or any formal agreement. The leaders enjoyed a formal reception and dinner, which included a toast between the two leaders. See how long relationships can help lead to a longer life. That story is still ahead.
A lot of clouds and precipitation is coming this week to the southeast region. How this could affect your weekend plans next on Newswatch. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell its story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Well, welcome back. Today it started off rainy and that cleared up and the rain's about to come, but for now it is 70 degrees and it's a bit humid, 66%, and the wind, it's just a little bit 3 miles per an hour. But looking at the almanac, we are a bit higher than normal, 74 degrees compared to the average of 67 degrees. Oh, but it's nothing that compares to the 86 degrees in 1990, and our low is a bit warmer than the average 42, but again, nothing like that 27 degrees. That's really cold. But one thing that makes me so excited is our sunset. It's 8:15 p.m. already. Oh, it's so late. I like having that extra daylight, and most people do, so you get that extra time to spend outside, especially when it is clear. Now, looking around the region, as I said before, 70 in Athens, but the more north you get, the colder it is. So 64 in Columbus, 64 in Newark, and 64 in Cambridge. And then down south, 77 in Ripley, and 76 in Ironton. Now, looking ahead in the hours, 8 p.m. we will have 67 degrees. It will still be cloudy then, but unfortunately at 9 p.m. it will cool down at 64, and then it will start to rain, and it will stay rainy until 10 p.m. and going into midnight and into the next day, and it does keep dropping throughout the hours. So tonight's low is 57 degrees in Athens, 57 in Jackson, 57 in Ironton, but the farther east you go, the warmer it gets. So over here, Marietta 59, 58 in New Martinsville, and 58 in Cambridge. And then looking onto the precipitation. So the reason we're starting to get cooler and get more rain is this big green area, and we are smack dab in the middle of it. So we will see a lot of rain throughout the next 24 hours. And unfortunately, so 6 a.m., we'll have 59 degrees, so a little bit cold. Make sure that you have your umbrella and rain boots for the rest of the day because it's going to be rain, 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 and it's going to get chillier. And then looking around the region, 60 degrees for tomorrow's high, and then 62 in Columbus, 61 in Ripley, so it is going to be a bit cooler. And then for tomorrow night, starting off that weekend, it is going to start off a little rainy, but it will start getting clear out. And then at 7 p.m., we're going to see some sun. So if you have the time, OU is having a baseball game. Unfortunately, they were having a softball game at 3 p.m. It got delayed. So looking at the 7-day forecast, we're going to see a lot. Friday, 59 degrees and 100% rain, as said before. Saturday and Sunday, it will start to clear up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it is going to warm up. And then 80 degrees on Thursday. That is warm, but thunderstorms. Back to you, Ben.
Thank you, Rachel. We know the saying, happy wife, happy life. Well, now study results show that having a happy spouse leads to a longer life. Meredith Wood has more in today's Health Minute.
More than 90% of people in Western cultures marry by age 50. Still, nearly half of married couples in the United States will divorce. But if you have a happy, healthy marriage, it's good for the couple's mental and physical health. And according to a study published by the Association for Psychological Science, your happy marriage can also lead to a longer life. The research surveyed more than 4,000 couples over the age of 50 and found that an individual's life satisfaction was in direct relationship with that person's mortality. Participants who were in happy marriages at the start of the study were less likely to pass away during the 8-year study compared to participants who had less happy relationships. If your spouse's behavior is healthy and active, including a good diet and exercise, you're likely to match that active and healthy lifestyle. If your partner is depressed and never wants to go out, your social life will likely match. For today's Health Minute, I'm Meredith Wood.
Good evening. Let's talk sports, shall we? A lot of action for Athens County High Schools on the diamond last night. Find out which local teams came out on top. And the NFL Draft is tonight. Hear how many Bobcats could have their names called this weekend when Newswatch returns.
Is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Blake Baker. 4 of the 5 high school baseball teams from Athens County played last night, and I tell you what, the dominant teams just keep dominating. 3 Waterford pitchers only allowed 3 total hits at Fed Hawk last night, plus the Wildcat bats were working early and often. Wahama welcomed Trimble last night and topped the Tomcats by 10 to earn its 18th win. Now over to the Ohio Division, where things are good in the Plains and MacArthur. Athens is still in first place in the Ohio after a big win, and Vinton County is right behind them after a big night of their own. Now River Valley also hosted Athens on the softball diamond, and the Bulldogs have their first winning streak of the season. A strong game on the mound from Kaylee Stewart in a 3-run 6th inning had a lot to do with it. The Bulldogs' first win over River Valley this season is their 7th win overall. They'll look for win number 8 tomorrow evening in Nelsonville. Now, there will be Bobcat softball in Athens this weekend. Another rendition of the Battle of the Bricks comes to town on Saturday. The series was postponed to start on Friday. It was supposed to start on Friday, but due to rain on the way, that game was moved to Saturday. That means they'll have a doubleheader Saturday. Miami has won 5 straight games. Ohio's first chance to break that streak comes at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Now, one more stop on the diamond on this show. Ohio baseball will host Kent State this weekend in a 3-game series. The Cats are fresh off a narrow win over Youngstown State on Tuesday, and that win was their 4th in a row. They'll put that streak on the line against a Golden Flashes team that's also on a bit of a winning streak. 2 of the MAC's hottest teams square off starting at 6 p.m. tomorrow. A couple more Bobcat teams have a big weekend ahead of them. The men's golf team hasn't been in action for 10 days. That's when they finished their regular season, and now it's time for the postseason. The Cats will compete in the MAC Championship starting tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. Not to be forgotten is Ohio's track and field team, who will run in the Jesse Owens relays this weekend. And it's a busy weekend for the team. On Saturday, it will also host the Ohio Open, and the Cats are coming off a weekend with 4 top 5 finishes, including Tasia Haley's win in the javelin throw. Now, some former college athletes could get the chance to become professionals this weekend, and that's the beauty of the NFL draft. The first round is tonight, meaning soon enough, the Bengals and Browns, among everybody else, will be on the clock. This is the first time since 2011 that the Browns haven't had a top 15 pick. In fact, they won't have a pick at all tonight after trading their first-round selection. And for the Bengals, it's their second top 15 pick in the past 3 years. They'll be picking 11th. 9 Bobcats worked out at last month's Pro Day. Depending on how this weekend goes, fans may be seeing those guys play on Sundays. Now, things could not be going better for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They rocked the sports world a week and a half ago, by sweeping the best team in the NHL. Tonight, the Jackets finally get a chance to prove round 1 was no fluke. They're in Boston tonight to face the Bruins. Boston is 2 days removed from a 7-game series. Here's Blake's take. Columbus pulls this one off too. I predict the Blue Jackets will find themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals by beating the Bruins. The first game tonight is at 7. And that's all I got. Back to the desk for you guys.
Thank you, Blake. Animal care staff with the Chicago Zoological Society this week did a routine medical check on a 12-year-old polar bear at the Brookfield Zoo to extract a sample for artificial insemination. The team performed the exam, which included a CT scan and a medical imaging of internal organs to ensure the bear, named Hudson, was in good health. The society says a new CT scan table that can hold up to roughly 2,200 pounds was donated to the facility in 2016. The table made the medical exam possible for Hudson, who weighs over 1,000 pounds. Now, Rachel, tell me, do you think it's a good time to go to check out some zoos in Ohio?
Well, looking ahead, we won't be seeing the sun a lot, and it's going to be a hard time to find a dry time to go to the zoo or anything like that. Tomorrow will be a bit chillier with a high of 59. The skies will clear up a little bit going into Saturday, where the sun will peek out. The sky will fill with more clouds on Sunday and cool down a little bit, but Monday to Thursday it will start warming up. However, with the warm weather comes precipitation. There's a 40% chance it will rain on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Both Wednesday and Thursday will also see scattered thunderstorms, but you can see it goes from a high of 71 on Monday to a high of 80 on Thursday. The day for people to appreciate the outdoors is going to be Saturday.
Thank you, Rachel. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you for watching.